Dude, the Ram CEO says that the company desperately needs a midsize truck because everything is so expensive.
Yeah, and I think we probably agree with that. So Tim Kuniskis has gone
Yes.
on the record
Yes.
as saying that he needs a midsize truck. I think those were his actual words.
Exactly.
Need.
Exactly. And this makes total sense, right? Because a Ram truck, that's the name of the company, Ram Truck. They need a full lineup of trucks. Currently, they have really good heavy duties, a really good half tons light duties, full size trucks. But what about compact trucks? What about midsize? What about really robust lineup of vans as well?
That's what we want to talk about in this video because it seems like things are starting to develop in this area. We're getting a little bit of news and hearing about some potential directions that they're working toward. Now, we should probably address the picture that you've got pulled up on your screen.
So this is not really a midsize truck per se. This is a compact truck, I would call it. This is the Rampage that's currently on sale in other markets, for example, Brazil. But I think it's quite handsome. It's in line with the Ram design language and style. And they could just sell it here, right? I mean, just move it over.
This is more of a compact truck.
Yeah.
So this is not exactly what Tim Kuniskis is calling out for the Ram brand to come up with for the American market, although I'd still think that a compact truck would be a good thing for them to bring over.
Ford Maverick?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Hugely
Yes.
popular.
Yeah, hugely popular. So this really news comes to us from the UAW. This is United Auto Worker Union. They have, of course, they represent workers in many different plants and assembly factories. And they're saying basically they are on record from Ram Stellantis that the new midsize truck will be built at the Belvidere plant in Illinois. So, but here's a little catch. Plant will open in 2027.
Yeah.
That's quite a while from now, actually.
It is theoretically, although as far as kitting out a factory to make a new vehicle and also developing a new truck, that takes a while. And by a while, I don't mean months, I mean years. So it seems like they're probably going to try and fast track this as much as possible, but that still takes time.
They really should. They really should fast track it.
Yeah. Now, the current midsize truck that we have from Stellantis is the Jeep Gladiator. And the thing with the Jeep Gladiator is that at this point, it's already getting on the older side, a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, it's been recently refreshed, with the new interior, the new grille, new lights, new options, new colors. But I would agree, but it still has a solid chassis, right? It has a frame that you can build up on. It has a suspension design. It has the capability. It tows up to, 7,700 pounds in some configurations, which is state of the art for the current midsize segment. It also has solid axles. Well, maybe this Ram midsize truck, maybe it will be called the Dakota. Right?
Who knows?
Who knows? Ram hasn't confirmed that yet. Maybe it doesn't need solid axles front and rear, but still, I think you have a basis of a new vehicle right there.
And to your point, to support that point, definitely Stellantis is not a stranger to using older platforms to continue to develop and create new vehicles off of. Because if we look at a lot of the existing and some of the recently outgoing products, those platforms that they lived on have been around for a long time. You look at even the upcoming Ram HD trucks that we'll see hopefully in the next couple months here and get to drive, those are still on a much older platform.
Exactly. The frames, the cab, some of the designs, of the bed and stuff like that date back almost 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So, reuse, repurpose, make something fresh from it. I think they know how to do this. And so I'm a little bit concerned for several reasons. So I think, yes, they do need a Ram Dakota desperately. And I think the CEO, Tim Kuniskis, knows this as well, obviously. But there's a couple of issues. First of all, the Ram Classic is gone.
Yes.
So the Ram 1500, we used to own one too. Here he is. The Stubby.
Stubby
Is gone. So I was just talking to our local dealership here, Ram dealership in Colorado. You cannot order a Ram 1500 Classic anymore. Also, the two-door cab configuration in the full-size truck in the new generation doesn't exist. Maybe they're developing it. Maybe it's going to come out soon. We don't know. But those used to be kind of the more affordable vehicles in their lineup.
Yeah, and it was a nice option to have, especially if you were trying to create a work truck, kind of like what we bought our very simple Ram Classic single cab truck for, because it's low to the ground, it's small, and it was relatively affordable.
And it has proven technology.
Yeah, that made it a really useful vehicle in their lineup. And to your point, yeah, now that's gone.
It's gone. So that's a concern. And I think they do need something more and more affordable in their lineup. And I think that's why they're working towards this. The other point I think that we can make, and I think Ram knows this, is that the midsize segment is growing. This is fourth quarter of 2024 versus 2023. The midsize segment in the U.S. grew by 60.1%. Although the Jeep Gladiator was losing, but I think there's some other issues here. It's not just the segment is good, but I think the Gladiator got too expensive.
Yeah.
Some Gladiators used to cost about $71,000 to buy new, which is a lot of money for a midsizer.
It is, especially when you have a lot of competition with midsize trucks that were updated, not even updated, completely redesigned. Yeah, all new. Several of them in the category that Gladiator is having to compete against, which makes it even harder for them to compete, especially if it's not any less expensive to get yourself a Gladiator.
Yeah, and also, so this is growing. The midsize segment in the U.S. is growing, and I think it will do quite well in 2025. That's my prediction because, once again, a little bit more affordable, garageable. You can put them in garages, right? Also, the Maverick is still increasing in sales. They sold 135,000 Mavericks last year.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
I think what we should go through are some of the direct quotes from Tim Kuniskis, who is the Ram Trucks CEO right now. And he said, as a direct quote, "I desperately need a midsize truck because everything is so expensive." That's a great thing to hear because that echoes a lot of what we hear from people in the comments and how we feel ourselves when we look at truck prices now. Another interesting thing, too, is that he did say that they still own the name Dakota. So that is something that they can use, and it sounds like an idea that they're tossing around.
And he also said that he likes the name. He did not go out and say it will be named Dakota, but he said he likes it and he owns it.
Yeah.
So that's good stuff.
So if we want to read into that, that says...
But the Rampage is also a cool name.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
If they wanted to call it something else, it's also possible. Then somebody asked them about unibody or frame-based. That's a big question, right?
It is, because the majority of midsize trucks on this list are body on frame, except for the Honda Ridgeline. And I think a lot of people, at least mentally, kind of put the Ridgeline in a different category from the Gladiator, from the Frontier, from the Tacoma, Colorado Canyon, the Ranger.
Exactly. And we've towed with every pickup truck and SUV basically here at TFL. And we recently towed with the Ford Maverick, the new one.
Yeah.
But what typically tends to happen with the unibody structure is that when you're pulling, like a hitch into it or maybe a bicycle carrier, you hear that because it kind of goes, that shock and noise goes through the entire body, not just the frame.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have a unibody truck, sometimes it depends on the unibody vehicle. The Maverick, when we towed with it on the Ike, actually wasn't that bad. But another vehicle from Ford, the Bronco Sport, when we've towed with Bronco Sports in the past, if you have a hitch in the rear, you feel that throughout the entire vehicle. It's kind of communicated through that entire unibody structure, and it can be a little bit annoying.
Just annoying and not confidence-inspiring.
Yeah.
Right? Another vehicle that it happens to is Dodge Durango. Dodge Durango is still on sale. It's also a unibody vehicle. It's also rated to tow a lot of weight, like over 8,000 pounds. And you could also hear the hitch in that vehicle. So CEO Tim Kuniskis said it doesn't really matter. He's open to both architectures, unibody or body on frame. He says both are very capable, and I kind of agree.
Sure.
For example, Silverado EV truck, you could argue it's also a unibody structure because it's kind of a different organization of components. So yes, there could be very capable, but it has to be off-road capable. It has to tow at least 7,000 pounds. Yeah. And it has to be comfortable, right?
Yeah, and if they engineer around those specific criteria, if they decide that they actively want to make it a nice, quiet and comfortable towing experience, even though it's unibody, and if they want to prioritize it being really capable off-road, but they want it to be unibody. That's all possible. There are extremely capable unibody vehicles off-road. There are unibody vehicles like the Silverado EV that have no problem being quiet as you're towing, especially an electric vehicle.
Yeah.
You would notice it if it wasn't. So it's possible to engineer around those things. I wouldn't mind seeing them come out with a midsize truck that is body on frame. And frankly, I would personally love it if they made it a solid front axle. So I wouldn't mind if they used the Jeep platform and maybe updated the powertrain, interior, the body, everything else. But if they kept that basic structure and the solid axles, I wouldn't be upset.
Exactly. And we don't know what's going to happen in 2 years from now.
Yes.
Because, for example, just as we wrap up this video, Ford also went on record last year saying that in 2027, they will have several different pickups. They're calling it the EV midsize pickup truck that's going to be affordable according to them. There's also Project T3, which is supposed to be like a full-size electrified pickup truck from Ford, and they're doing it from scratch. You know, they built a factory, they're doing Skunk Works project to make it happen. Who knows, there may be a next generation Maverick in 2027 or 2028. So this world is very competitive. So I really hope Ram can come out, you know, on a good footing and actually get some sales.
That's our hope. I think all the way around is we want to, hopefully it won't be too little, too late.
Exactly, which is always possible.
Yeah.
All right, well, let us know what you think. Can you wait another 2 years or so for a Ram Dakota midsize truck?
Yeah, because you might have to.
And what would you like to see in it? Let us know.